Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Evanston. I'm Reverend Susan Francis. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm the assistant minister here. And today, Gail Smith is our worship associate. Yay! Yay! This morning we are creating space for our immunocompromised members and friends. This means, and I see all of you are already masked, that we'll be masking throughout today. There are tables and chairs set up on the south lawn, so if you would like to eat and drink with your mask off during kinship time, you're invited to head out onto the south lawn. We're going to have a similar mask required service on August 17th, and I hope you can all join us. Whether this is your spiritual home or you are joining us for the first time, we are grateful to share this time together. We strive to be an inclusive and welcoming community, seeking truth in love and nurturing the human spirit for a world made whole. We are guided by our principles and values, which remind us in every moment and through every challenge that each of us is worthy of love and that we are all connected through the vast and beautiful web of existence. We come together to remember our kinship with one another and to hold one another in heart and mind with tenderness and careful attention, and to dedicate ourselves more fully to living our shared values. People of all ages are welcome and an important part of our community. We're blessed to have the children in the sanctuary for the first half of the service, and the nest here is where we have quiet fidget toys and a kid-friendly order of service. And the nursery is always available in room 11 on the lower level. As part of being a welcoming and inclusive community, we have some information posted on the screen that will orient you to UCE and our service. There we go. And we have just two announcements. The first is join us for Dances of Universal Peace. Some of you may have engaged in this before. It's a joyful meditative experience that combines simple movements with singing phrases from around the world. It will be on Saturday, August 9th from 1 to 2:30 p.m. and led by Donna Schiller. No musical or dance experience is required. Just bring yourself. Please ask Ellie Feddersen if you have any questions before August 9th. The prison ministry will be at a program table at the back of the cafe after the service today and next week with information about our Pen Pal program. I invite Carolyn Laughlin to come forward and share a testimonial about being a Pen Pal.
Good morning. 30 years ago, I became friends with a shy, withdrawn kindergartner from an under-resourced single-parent family with 7 kids. We stayed in touch through high school, off and on. Darian is now incarcerated in Hill Correctional Center in Illinois, and without any changes to legislation, he's going to be there until he's 53 years old. Darian and I email and write each other each month. I share my family news, which he relishes, and he shares his. We share thoughts about the books we're reading, and I hear about his personal development programs that he's pursuing. Also, the part-time work that he's doing in the kitchen and enjoying. Darian frequently tells me that my connection and encouragement with him over the years, the fact that I see him, and he uses those words, has meant the world to him. I have honestly never met anyone with whom I have been so impressed and inspired because of his deep desire and his ability to change and improve and grow. If this sounds nice, but you're not particularly into direct service work, I get it. because I'm not really either. I'm much more interested, as many people in this service know, in work that's systemic, big, and impacts change in a large way. Darien has happily provided me with a portal to that as well. Understanding for the first time in my life what incarceration is about, and having a glimpse of our criminal justice system through his eyes has driven me to action. I'm now an advocate with Restore Justice. I follow all the bills that are related to the criminal justice system in Illinois. I make phone calls, I complete witness slips. Being Darien's pen pal has opened up a window for me to actually take some action. So, share an hour a month to befriend a human being by reading and writing a letter, or leverage a relationship to gain an understanding of a world that you and I otherwise probably can't grasp. Either motivation works. I hope you sign the slip of paper that you've been given and drop it off at the back table after service, or just have a conversation with Dale or with Gail and understand a little bit about how easy and how impactful being a pen pal is. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carolyn. And now let us settle into our shared time of reflection and celebration and inspiration. As we begin our worship service, those joining us online are invited to gather their chalice as we join in beloved community. Welcome to worship.
Unitarian Church of Evanston resides on the traditional homelands of the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations. The land where we sit was transferred from the local Potawatomi community to the U.S. government in 1829 and sold to white settlers. The Potawatomi community had no choice but to sell before being forcibly removed west of the Mississippi River. We also remember the ancestors of contemporary African Americans, the individuals, families, and networks of Black people who built up our country's culture and economy, which was a role forced on them originally by enslavement. We are indebted to their labor and unwilling sacrifice and acknowledge the tremors of that violence throughout the generations, still felt and witnessed today. We offer these acknowledgments as one small effort toward building long-term solidarity with contemporary communities. We commit ourselves to incorporate these admissions into our lives and turn our thoughts into actions. Please join us in our words of shared commitment. We name these realities with honor for all the ancestors, respect for our descendants, and gratitude for the land we use as sacred space. Carolyn Laughlin and the prison ministry team light the chalice in recognition of the intersection of disability and mass incarceration. As she lights our chalice, symbol of our living tradition, please join in reading A Wild and Holy Vision by Sean Gibson. The words are on the screen. We light our chalice in the spirit of transformation. Nothing stays the same. Everything is moving, shifting, changing. Guide us all to a wild and holy vision of our shared humanity. Please rise in body or spirit and join in saying the words of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Before we sing our opening hymn, I invite those joining us online to greet each other in the chat, and those gathered in the sanctuary to turn to one another briefly to say good morning, trying to greet someone who is new to you.
You are invited to stay after the service for our kinship time and continue your conversations. If you're new to UCE, please stop by the welcome table, which has the red cloth on it in the back of the sanctuary, and let's keep creating new relationships and building our kinship. Please remain risen and join in singing our opening hymn 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In.
it's on now. Woo, sorry about that. Good morning. Today's Time for All Ages is from a picture book called Just Ask by Sonia Sotomayor and illustrated by Rafael Lopez. And as I tell this story, if anything resonates with you, feel free to raise your hand or say yes, because I'm sure something will. Hi, my name is Sonia, and my friends and I are planting a garden. Gardens are magical places. Thousands of plants bloom together, but every flower, every berry, and every leaf is different. Each has a different smell, a different color, different shape, and different purpose. Some flowers need lots of sunlight. Others thrive in the shade. Some have to be trimmed regularly, while others are better off left alone. Some trees and flowers are more fragile, and others are more hardy. Kids are different too. Adults as well, I might add. Some of us are in a hurry. That's me. And others take more time. Some of us seem shy and quiet. That's me too. While others are chatty and loud. Own it, yes. Some of our differences are easy to spot. Others take longer to notice. Each of us grows in our own way, so if you are curious about other kids or people, just ask. Not everyone is comfortable answering questions about themselves, but I don't mind. What am I doing? Several times a day, I prick my finger to measure the sugar in my blood, and I give myself shots of medicine called insulin. I do this because I have diabetes, and my body doesn't make insulin naturally like other people's. Even though this can sometimes hurt, I gather all of my courage to do it to be healthy. Do you ever need to take medicine to be healthy? I do. My name is Raphael, and I have asthma. I do too. Which means I sometimes have trouble breathing. When that happens, I take a break and use an inhaler with medicine to make breathing easier. Quiet time helps me slow down and catch my breath. My inhaler is like a tool to help my body. Do you use a tool to help your body? I do. I'm Anthony, and I use a wheelchair to get around. Even though I can't run with my legs, I can go super fast. How do you get from place to place? My name is Madison, and my guide dog, Lucky, helps me get places safely because I'm blind. My friend Arturo is blind too. He uses a cane to get around. Even though we can't see, we strengthen our other senses and notice lots of details others may miss. We can hear with our ears, smell with our noses, and feel with our hands. How do you use your senses? I'm Vijay. I learn about the world differently because I can see, but I can't hear. I'm deaf. Most of the time, I communicate with people using my face and hands through sign language. It's cool to know another language. Who here knows another language? I also love reading and writing. What about you? I'm great at dinosaurs. I know all about them. I'm Jordan, and I have autism. Organizing and counting all my toy dinosaurs again and again makes me feel calm. My classmate Tiana also has autism, but it's different for her. She doesn't talk, but I like to talk. I especially like to talk about dinosaurs. What do you like to talk about? My name is Julia. Sometimes I wiggle or make sounds that I can't control because I have Tourette's syndrome. People may look at me funny because they think I am not paying attention or just acting out. But it's not true. I am listening. I don't always like to have to explain. It frustrates me. But it helps when I tell people that it's just what my body does. Do you ever feel frustrated? I'm Nolan. It's helpful to me when the food I eat has a clear label that says it is nut-free because I am allergic to nuts. They can make me so sick that I would have to go to the hospital if I ate any, even if by accident. So I always tell people about my allergy and ask if it has any nut ingredients. Speaking up keeps me healthy. How do you use your voice? I love to sing and I love to talk. I love to make new friends and be included. I am Grace. I was born with Down syndrome. Kids like me with Down syndrome have an extra building block called a chromosome in our bodies. But we are all different from each other too. I can do almost anything any other kid can do, though learning new things can take some time. One way I learn is to ask questions. What helps you learn? Well, it's me, Sonia, again. I ask questions too. When something seems different or new, I just ask my parents or my teachers, and they help me to understand, especially if my friends don't feel ready to explain. This is what I've learned. Imagine if all the plants in the garden were exactly the same. Like, what if we could only grow peas? That would mean no strawberries or cucumbers or carrots. And it might also mean no trees, no roses or sunflowers. Just like in our garden, all the ways we are different make our neighborhood, our whole world really, a little more interesting and fun. And just like all of these plants, each of us has unique powers to share with the world and make it more interesting and richer. What will you do with your powers?
I invite us to settle into a time of reflection as we share our joys and sorrows. If you have something you would like to share on a Sunday morning, you may write it in this book. Do you all see it's a new book that's at the back on the table just inside the lobby doors? Or you can email Reverend Eileen or myself, or there is a button on the homepage of the website that says Joys and Sorrows, and you can send in what you want to share through that button. I invite you all to take a deep breath in, letting your mind and body come into this moment. as you exhale slowly. These are the joys and sorrows that have been shared before our service today. Sarah Blotis shares, our cat Blackie has a bladder blockage. Fortunately, he is recovering well. The vet is wanting to see if he recovers even more. Prayers and good thoughts would be appreciated. Our thoughts are with you, Sarah. And Dale Griffin shares, our New Zealand daughter, Claire, and her husband and 3 kids were here for 2.5 weeks, including a side trip to our treehouse in Maine. Yeah. Sharing these concerns of the heart is a part of the practice of beloved community. Together we expand our celebrations and lessen the burden of our grief. If you have something on your heart today, you're invited to come to one of the 3 stations in the sanctuary and light a candle or to drop a stone into the well of tears. Please come forward. If you would like a candle brought to you, Kathy will do that. Please raise your hand. Please join in our shared words. For these joys we give our thanks, for these sorrows we give our love. Please join me in an attitude of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life, Be with us as we navigate the complexities of our world right now. Be with each of us each day as we navigate grief and health issues and the individual complexities of our lives. Remind us to slow down, to make time to celebrate the birthdays, the successes, and the small ways we take care of each other. Help us too to remember to take care of ourselves. Spirit of life, be with us as we figure out how to continue to resist authoritarianism, as we refuse to live our lives in a zero-sum game, as we choose community and relationships that ground us in the here and now and shape a future that includes everyone. Spirit of love, we are grateful for this community with shared values, this place where we can rest as well as grow, where we strive to be a place of belonging for all. This place where we hold each other when we make mistakes, where we have the opportunity to learn, apologize, and move forward together. This place where we provide each other comfort and care and companionship through life's joys and hardships. Spirit of love, we are grateful for the things that make each of us unique. We take pride in expressing and sharing of ourselves, supported by this community who embraces us just as we are. Blessed be, and amen. As we sing our response, our young people, preschool through 8th grade, are invited to head to their faith formation time with their adult leaders. As we say in our covenant each Sunday, service is our law.
UCE is called by our mission, values, and principles to contribute to our community, to form accountable partnerships, and to express gratitude through giving. Today's offering will be shared with Open Communities, which works to eradicate housing discrimination and unjust practices that perpetuate segregation and inequity. You may text to give, mail in a check, put cash in the collection bowls, or give from our website. If you write a check, please indicate in the memo line if your check is for the shared offering or some other giving. The ushers will now come forward and pass the collection bowls down the rows. Please give generously as you are able, and may what you give bring you joy. Thank you for your generosity. Our reading is an excerpt from You Are Not Entitled to Our Deaths, COVID, Able Supremacy, and Interdependence by Mia Mingus, published in January 2022. These days, I am struggling to find grace for abled people, i.e., non-disabled people. I don't know how to convey the magnitude of disabled rage I feel about this pandemic and the stunningly self-absorbed levels of abled entitlement. I cannot listen to the Centers for Disease Control say they are encouraged that only those who were unwell to begin with will die from Omicron. Abled culture teaches abled people to be entitled. You are entitled to never have to learn anything about disability and ableism. You are entitled to move through the world with little to no understanding or analysis about disability, even as you pontificate about every other system of oppression and violence. You are not entitled to our deaths. You are not entitled to the deaths of our loved ones in the name of capital, privilege, and normal. You are not entitled to our silence about our pain and suffering and the wet tar grief that envelops us. You enjoy connection at the expense of our isolation. When you choose to gamble with your own health, you only take into consideration your own risks and never the risks of others. Abled entitlement ensures your risk assessment will always be, if I get sick, I will be able to recover. Never, could this harm their neighborhood, their state, their country, their continent? Disabled people are not disposable. We are your feared present and your inevitable future. We are what age and time promise more than anything else, and this is one reason you fear us. Pandemics, climate change, pollution, and toxins have tilted the scales and upped the ante that disability is our collective future. Individual safety by itself is a myth. There is no individual safety without collective safety. And collective safety requires that no one is safe unless everyone is safe. We should be framing this pandemic in terms of interdependence. Interdependence acknowledges that our survival is bound up together, that we are interconnected, and what you do impacts others. If we do not understand that we are interdependent with the planet, we as a species will not survive. Abled culture teaches you to act as if you are independent, to buy into the myth of independence. Reject this. Embrace interdependence and know that if we centered disabled people, first and foremost those who are at high risk, it will help everyone. The solution cannot be that everyone has to get COVID. That is eugenics, because many disabled high-risk people will die, and those who do not die will have serious complications and lifelong impacts to their health. If there ever was a time to be in solidarity with disabled people, it is now. Now is the time to recalibrate, to get in alignment with your values. We don't need your apologies, we just need you to do better. If you are able to talk to other abled people, help to educate them. Interdependence is ultimately about we instead of me. It understands that we are bound together by virtue of existing on this planet. Interdependence is generative and grounded in care for one another. It doesn't live in obligation or entitlement, but rather a loving willingness and a sacred giving. Interdependence cannot exist in scarcity, competition, comparison, domination, or greed. It flourishes in abundance, appreciating and honoring difference, collective care, and collective access. Interdependence asks us to imagine new ways forward with intention and soulful commitment to each other. We need you. We need all of us. There is no getting out of this pandemic alone. There is no stopping the spread or pushing our government, schools, and businesses to do more alone. We need each other. We need each other. We need each other.
Thank you, Gregory. Yesterday marked the 35th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, known as the ADA. Signed into law on July 26, 1990, with bipartisan support, the ADA is the strongest federal law protecting the civil rights of people with disabilities. It bars discrimination based on disability and is meant to guarantee equal access to public buildings and businesses, employment opportunities, transportation, and state and local government services. A piece of history that I recently learned in Emily Ladau's book, Demystifying Disability, is that when the ADA bill stalled in Congress, quote, protesters joined together in March 1990 to galvanize legislators into action. Among them, a group of disabled people left behind their mobility aids and hauled themselves up the steps of the US Capitol building to prove a point about the barriers they faced every day. It has become known as the Capitol Crawl, and it was one of the most iconic moments in the disability rights movement. Learning this piece of history made me feel uncomfortable. It made me feel uncomfortable in the same way that our reading by Mia Mingus today made me feel uncomfortable when I first read it. These are the moments when we need to sit in our discomfort, to ask ourselves what is making us uncomfortable. And so I sat with these feelings both times. And what I realized in these descriptions of these moments in time, one from when I was in high school, but I had never learned about until now, one really present, leading into our present moment, is that these times when people are made to feel invisible, made to feel disposable, that these moments make me profoundly sad. They make me feel helpless. They make me feel undereducated. And then they make me feel angry. Angry at the government and institutions that create these moments, but more deeply angry at the people running those institutions. And sadness and helplessness and feeling like I don't know and feeling mad, those feelings all make me feel uncomfortable. Once I realized and named these feelings, my comfort level actually changed because it wasn't an unknown feeling anymore. It was something I had figured out, like, why am I feeling discomfort? And then I was able to re-engage. The disability rights movement is here to be with each of us in these moments, however we are experiencing them, whether we currently have a visible or invisible disability, whether we are an ally, or whether we have started or are currently in an able-bodied being, and over the natural progression of our lives, we have joined, or we know that we will likely join, the vast and diverse community that is referred to as the disability community. The disability rights movement gives us the tools and the opportunities to come to terms with the need to make our society and our institutions more inclusive. The movement is also a resource for finding like-minded people who are working toward these ends. To move forward toward inclusion, we will need to engage in a social model that complements the medical model of disability. Activist Amani Barbarin writes, "Disability is a holistic experience. Disability is not just a physical diagnosis, but a lived experience in which parameters and barriers are placed upon our lives because of that diagnosis." The medical model focuses on the disability of the individual, defining disability as a diagnosis and impairment. The social model reflects that people are disabled not by medical conditions, but by environments, attitudes, and systems that create barriers. Emily Ladau, in Demystifying Disability, gives the example that in the social model, she can attribute her status as disabled to an environment that isn't wheelchair accessible rather than to her medical diagnosis. She goes on to assert, in reality, neither the medical model nor the social model can exist independently of each other. The two models go hand in hand, and so it is that society must keep evolving as with individual medical care. It is one's lived experience from individual diagnoses to social engagement that has brought about the concept of disability justice. Disability justice emerged to recognize the intersection of multiple forms of prejudice and discrimination against people of marginalized identities. It is a framework that both builds on and diverges from disability rights by centering marginalized disabled people. This concept of intersectionality is not new to disability justice. The term was coined by Kimberly Crenshaw, and it describes the interconnected nature of social categories, such as race and class and gender, as they apply to a given individual or group. Acknowledging these shared interconnected categories then create overlapping and interdependent systems of discrimination or disadvantage. Disability justice is here to help us figure out how to add ableism as one of the categories in these conversations regarding intersectionality. Ableism is discrimination in favor of able-bodied people. One way ableism shows up is in how we talk with each other. Many people with apparent disabilities share how people range from avoiding eye contact to staring, or from avoiding having a conversation with them to asking very intimate questions. And while our language continues to evolve over the years to be more inclusive, it is typically not the language used that is an issue, assuming one is speaking respectfully. It is usually the avoidance or the pity or the embarrassment on behalf of someone with a disability that are the more difficult encounters to process. What disability justice seeks of us across abilities and disabilities is engagement. Like our story for all ages, Just Ask, by U.S. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor, what breaks the isolation our society is continually building up around people with disabilities is relationship and respectful conversation. Asking open-ended questions, including allowing someone to say they don't want to answer you, and asking what term someone with a disability prefers you use when speaking about their disability are good ways to start if you are unsure. Disability justice is also about being able to recognize our pride in being exactly who we are in this moment in time. Disability pride is a movement about accepting and honoring the uniqueness of each individual. It provides a perspective that embraces disability as a natural and beautiful part of human diversity. Disability Pride Month, this month, July, is a celebration of the diversity, strength, and resilience within the disability community. And during Disability Pride Month, we honor the time, money, and energy spent here at UCE to adapt our physical space so that it is more accessible for people with disabilities. Originally focusing on the needs of people with apparent disabilities, that's one way our language is evolving, from using ableist language of visible and invisible to using the non-ableist language of apparent and non-apparent. So originally focusing on the needs of people with apparent disabilities, we have installed ramps and elevators so that we can access all of the rooms of our building and the South Lawn. There's a hearing loop that is connected to the sound system here in the sanctuary. There are large print orders of service and hymnals, and the staff works weekly to keep the font on the screen as accessible for individuals with vision limitations as possible. And while there are still need for upgrades, the work we have already done to create a more inclusive space is worth celebrating, especially since as a religious community, we are exempt from complying with the ADA. What we have done because it is based on our values and our commitment to radical welcoming, and that is worth celebrating. And in our ongoing commitment to our values and radical welcoming that is helping us evolve, we are evolving to become more inclusive of people with non-apparent disabilities. 2 years ago in a worship service, our youth group led a service that helped us learn more about the spectrum of neurological differences. After that service, we started offering the consent for touch stickers that go on your name tag. You can find those in the name tag station on the table in the lobby. More and more of us have created a habit of asking before giving someone a hug or a handshake. Also, after that service, we started offering fidgets for folks to use during the service. Those are also located in the name tag station on the table in the lobby. But that has evolved into offering an array of items for anyone to use during the service on our soul work table that's over by the piano. Upon reopening after the COVID-19 lockdown, we continued to provide Zoom options for our congregants who are immunocompromised or have other health concerns. These options turned out to be a benefit for some of our elders who have night vision issues when driving, and for some of our parents who have young children at home. This is our congregation's personal example of how centering the most vulnerable benefited the entire community. In our reading of Mia Mingus, she articulated this way of engagement, sharing, quote, "Abled culture teaches you to act as if you are independent, to buy into the myth of independence. Reject this. Embrace interdependence and know that if we center disabled people, first and foremost those who are high risk, it will help everyone," end quote. Our congregation is continuing to evolve into a community of belonging for all. This year, we will be offering 2 more ways to make our space more inclusive. One is that we will be offering these mask-required Sunday morning services once a quarter. The second is that we will be introducing a clear system for making ingredients for food set out during kinship time to make sure our members and friends with food allergies are able to enjoy our potlucks and picnics. As we continue to expand the ways we care for each other, Reverend Eileen and I are welcome and open to your feedback, your ideas, your concerns, and your questions. As author and artist Naomi Ortiz reminds us, disability justice is a series of choices to build relationship, to learn together, to disagree without silencing each other. It's about building up our capacity to honor difference and appreciate the messiness. May we live into the messiness. May we rejoice in the deeper connection it builds among us, and may we feel the love of this community who embraces us exactly as we are. Blessed be. As we extinguish the chalice, please join in saying the words on the screen by the Reverend Elizabeth Zell Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please rise, embody your spirit, and join in singing hymn 129, Let Love Continue. For our benediction, please join me in a responsive reading with words from Mia Mingus. The words are on the screen. When you feel yourself becoming complacent or surrendering to hopelessness or apathy, remember that everything that exists today exists because someone dreamt it up and decided to put in the work to make it a reality. We can create new ways of doing, new ways of being, new worlds. Sorry, I thought that was going to be up on the screen there. Blessed be, you are loved for exactly who you are. Go in peace.